Yo, guys, are my pants sagging too much?
Turn around, let me check. Nah, bro, you're good.
So I just realized that I accidentally switched the Sayori's. Anyways, back to the video.
I only shower once or twice a week. That's enough for me.
Sarah, that's wrong.
You know, now that I think of it, I don't think I've ever seen you cry.
Well, I must be some kind of soulless monster.
You better watch out. We got monsters like you around these parts.
No, you better watch out. This ain't no monster y'all wanna be messing with.
And his fine words, Missy. I hope you kissed your mama goodbye this morning.
How you been, Sally Face?
You dated the brutal dictator of Nicaragua? And she goes, he wasn't the brutal dictator of Nicaragua when I was dating him.
So why did Sally have to kill everyone in Addison Apartments? Basically, they were all infected by the Endless One in order to be used as sacrifices in the Void for the cult to gain power. And if that's true, why didn't they just try to stop the cult instead of killing everyone? Essentially, once you're infected, you're doomed to die. And we know that everyone inside the apartments was most likely infected because of the Addison tea they've been drinking. Since we can see that the black goop of Addison tea is the same black goop that's covering everyone on the other side that's making them act weird. But what exactly does it mean when they're infected? We actually have a pretty detailed description of what happens to someone once they're infected based on the notes of Maple's corruption, which you can find in the basement of episode 5. First, she started being a threat to herself and others and had to be locked up. And as the infection progressed, she became more and more violent and had to be restrained. She would go through different phases of being herself and then being possessed, until eventually she stopped being there at all and her physical appearance began to change. And then she started screaming until her throat bled and she physically couldn't scream anymore. And eventually she stopped eating and started emitting a foul smell. And this all took place over a course of 64 days. She most likely only lived so long because she had Ash and Neil to look after her. Maple is the only survivor of the mass murder at Addison Apartments, because she wasn't there that day. And if everyone else hadn't been killed, the same thing would have happened to them. So Sally's actions were mercy kills. And stopping everyone from becoming sacrifices also stopped the shadows from gaining enough power to consume the planet.
What? Show me. Oh, crap. I knew it. It was ass-eating cannibal time. So Mrs. Packerton just, like, skins them, puts it in the freezer, and then serves the bologna meat to people. We...
Don't sexualize her.
If you've ever wondered how Dr. Enon, the psychiatrist that was doing Sally's psych evaluation, was able to show up to the trial despite falling to his death, the answer is that he didn't. He was actually replaced by a guy from the cult who was a lookalike. And you might not have noticed because they do look really similar. This is what the real Dr. Enon looks like, and this is the fake Dr. Enon from the trial. Which is why this guy was lying during his testimony. He claims that he believed Sally, which is why he went to the treehouse to investigate, which is when he realized that Sally had been lying the whole time. But that's not the truth, because the real Dr. Enon did go to the treehouse and he actually saw Larry's ghost, which is what caused him to fall out of the treehouse. And this isn't a one-off thing, the cult actually places multiple people throughout the game, Charlie being one of them. In episode 4, Sally and Larry talk about how Charlie's getting out of jail, but it doesn't matter because he's not the real Charlie, and they wonder what happened to the real one. This is what the real Charlie looks like, but this is the guy they show in the police report. And this is obviously not Charlie. This is the reporter that was interviewing Sally before his trial. Her name's Claire Nettles, but you might not know that she's not the real one, she's also a replacement. This is actually the real Claire Nettles. We know this because we can see her on the TV on the background of the beginning of episode 4, back before everything went down.
I'm so sorry, Sally. I failed you again. You deserve better than this. You deserve better than me, Ashley. I wish you would have seen yourself more like that. You are a failure in my eyes. You were always there for me. You gave me hope when I needed it most. You never saw the wrong things I've done. Even when you couldn't believe the reasons I had to do those things, you stood by me. That means everything.
Ash have to die, man. Come on. There's gotta be a way we can save her, or this is unacceptable. I'm gonna be pissed off at this ending. Oh, crap. What's happening to me? Oh. So she's Ash with the soul of Sal inside of her, right? Ash, can you hear me? Yeah, there we go. Sal, where are you? The ritual has awakened a power with my being, but I cannot return to your world.
Each of Beelzebub's artworks in the beginning of episode 4 of Sally Face represent different victims of the cult. Behind door 1 are the peering eyes. They are full of guilt for the crimes they were forced to commit and claim to be a prisoner of their own mind. If you try and continue to speak with them, they will only express remorse for the actions and continue to say the words, "I am so sorry," over and over again. Some believe it represents Luke Holmes, Megan's dad and Stacy's husband, because he was manipulated by the red-eyed demon into killing his whole family after catching his wife cheating on him. He went on to deeply regret his actions and hung himself after writing a note detailing the guilt and remorse he felt for his actions. Others believe it might represent Terrence Addison, because his body was overtaken by the Endless One and used to infect everyone inside Addison Apartments. He was fighting for control of his body for a long time before ultimately succumbing to the Endless One. The eyes might be a reference to the fact that we can only see his eyes through the mail slot of his door up until later on in the episode. Behind door 2 are their sins, who express the agony they feel. They most likely represent the victims of Mrs. Packerton because they were skinned and cut up in order to be made into bologna. Behind door 3 is trap and rot, which is backwards for torn apart. It expresses joy from being loved after being discarded and unseen for so long, until everything fell apart and it was heartbroken. This one we know the least about because it doesn't match the description of any of the characters in the game, but it might be Sarah, David's mannequin wife who's missing her arms and legs. And behind door 4 is Her Fate, which depicts Evelyn, the woman from the VHS tapes who's also Jim's sister and Larry's aunt, which her soul is corrupted by the dark and she falls prey to the red-eyed demon. The red-eyed demon, the plague of shadows, and the dark all describe the same thing. It's not necessarily one singular entity, but a collective being that has the ability to appear as a shadowy humanoid creature. And it exists to work towards its lone goal of consuming and destroying all life. Its origins are unknown, presumably extraterrestrial, and it has most likely existed for eons. Its first appearance chronologically is in the early 1900s. The Dark came to terrorize Earth and Terrence Addison was forced to kill all those who were infected, including his entire family, saving the planet from a fate that would later befall Jim and Evelyn. On their planet, the Plague of Shadows suddenly descended from the sky and rapidly started consuming everything and everyone. Jim and Evelyn were lucky to escape with their lives, unlike Evelyn's 2 sons. But unfortunately, she had already been infected, and the Plague of Shadows would follow them back to Earth. At some point, the cult becomes involved with the Red-Eyed Demon for their own goals, and they start sending it sacrifices, as it seems to prefer possession of a host through infection. This is seen with the unknown female cultist in episode 2 and Charlie Mansfield in episode 1. There are 5 known hosts for the Red-Eyed Demon. The one we know the least about is the one we see in the minigame in episode 2. They were a female cultist who willingly gave up their body to be possessed. And in the minigame we see her collecting talismans before being surrounded by the cult members who summoned the demon into her body. Then there was Evelyn, Jim's sister and Larry's aunt. She was originally infected while on her home planet, but was possessed after becoming trapped in the spectral plane on Earth. She was the woman in the VHS tapes, and her possession was the one that was the most detailed, since we can see all the small changes to her body and mind as the demon slowly consumes her. Then there was Luke Holmes, Megan's dad. He was a cult member, but he wasn't sacrificed like the other female cultist. He was manipulated by the Red-Eyed Demon into giving up his body for power after finding his wife cheating on him. And under the demon's influence, he took the lives of his wife and daughter. Then in episode 1, the host was Charlie. It's unknown whether he was involved with the cult or if he was willingly made a host. But while possessed, the demon used his body to kill Mrs. Sanderson for going against the cult. And the last one is Todd. He was actually kidnapped by the cult in order to be used as a host. And he was locked up in a mental institution after being found by the police. After the end of the game, he's still possessed. But because they were able to stop the Void's influence, Todd has been learning how to use the demon's powers without being controlled by it.
Fandoms.